Hello again and welcome to another Fly the Wing 5-minute in-flight maneuver video. This month I'll be demonstrating the commercial task, Power Off 180-degree accuracy approach and landing. It's all about energy management in the Power Off 180 landing. And if you're a glider pilot, you're probably asking, so what's the big deal? Every landing's a Power Off 180 in a glider. Well, the only way you're going to figure this out in your airplane is with lots of practice in varying wind conditions. It comes down to judgment and decision making when the engine's merely idling. When do you turn? When do you deploy flaps? And in a complex airplane, when do you put the gear down? Well, the PTS says we have to touch down in a normal landing attitude at or within 200 feet beyond a specified touchdown point. So let's head out to thermal on a hot but windless day and try a Power Off 180 landing in a sky lane.
So we're at thermal, we're downwind right now. We've started to reduce power a little bit, and when we get downwind to beam our aiming point, which in this case is going to be the runway marker, that's 1,000 feet down. We're not going to try to land on the numbers or the threshold in a power off landing. We want to give ourselves a little margin of safety here. So gas undercarriage mixture prop switches, we'd have the gear down if it were a complex airplane, and we bring the throttle back to idle, and then we pitch for best glide. Now the book speed in this airplane is 75 clean, but that's at maximum gross weight. We're well below gross weight today, so we're going to pitch for 70 indicated without flaps, and when we go to flaps we'll slow it up about 5 knots below that. Let me make a quick radio call. Thermal traffic, Skyline 53 Golf, close in left base, runway 30, touch and go thermal. We can bring the prop back to low RPM. That'll unload the prop and lessen drag a little bit. So it all happens here on base. Am I high, am I low? I want to try to judge where I need to turn and square the turn off or turn early for my aiming point. And this actually looks pretty good. The angle, it's about 30 degrees there. There's really no wind here today. High density altitude though here in the desert. Looks pretty good. I'll bring in my first notch of flaps. We're definitely going to make the runway. Let's see how close we can come to our aiming point. Bring in the second notch of flaps, maybe slip a little bit as I go to final, make my radio call. Thermal traffic, Skyline 53 Golf, short, final runway 30, touch and go thermal. Final notch of flaps, slip it as I come around. Remember the Cessnas love to float when you get over the runway. Maintaining that speed all the way down, and when I get to my designated spot I want to land on it or within 200 feet, which would be the second stripe, and we're there.
Some of the common errors when demonstrating a Power Off 180 landing include flying a downwind leg too far from the runway, a downwind leg that's too long due to a tailwind, inadequate wind correction, skidding turns, and not lowering the gear or using a checklist or final gumps check are other common errors. And trying to stretch the glide or otherwise forcing the plane down are clues that you may need to practice a little bit more. If you're too low on base or final, you can turn to your landing spot a little bit sooner, round the turns, deploy flaps and gear later, and stay coordinated with minimum banking turns to conserve some altitude. If you're too high and you need to lose altitude, extend downwind a little bit, square your turns, slip the plane, make some gentle S-turns, and deploy flaps and landing gear sooner. Try to practice Power Off 180 landings in different airplanes you fly in varying wind conditions and kick it up a notch by climbing higher and trying some Power Off 360 landings. They'll really help you get a feel for what you can and can't get out of your airplane. Have fun, fly safely, and I'll see you again next time for another Fly the Wing 5-minute in-flight maneuver video.